Well, here she is. It's the end of May here now in Iowa, and finally getting around to getting this going again. So I actually have a new engine for it. This one was burning a little over a quart per tank of gas now, and I think that's just a little bit too much. And then I'm not sure what happened, whether it was maybe a spark plug wire failed. I mean, these are kind of old, but anyways, started getting a lot of fuel going into the oil. So I know the rings were bad, I know the valve seals were bad, so it's this one kind of needs an overhaul. But I have a new engine, so this one, I mean, it still runs very good. I mean, as far as, you know, if you don't count smoking and you know, burning oil, besides that, it runs really good, surprisingly. But so anyways, I got the back end pulled out. This was sitting back in there. I had to pull it by hand, and I don't know if you can see it there. That's where I was slipping trying to pull it. Just put it up on a jack under the drive shaft or the differential, and then start pulling. So anyways, here it is. It's stuck in here now, but should be able to start it up and actually back it out of its grave to get a new engine. So we'll try it out, see what happens. I had the battery tender on here over the winter, so it should be good. I know I've started it up a couple times over the winter and it was good, but try backing it out and then see about getting this engine out, getting a new one in. All right, so obviously I just left it exactly how it was parked. So I got my Mountain Dew can sitting right there. Neutral. Clutch still feels good, brakes. Yeah, maybe a little bit on the weak side, but we'll see what happens. Got power. Fan's running. Give the starter a little bit of a break. I'm pretty sure that the fuel bowl was, you know, drained, evaporated out, so it's probably dry, so I gotta pump it out from the tank all the way up in there. The oil pressure's starting to come. Alright, give it a sec. Like I said, we gotta pump it all the way from the tank, so it's gonna be just a little bit. Oh, I let go too soon. There she is. Right up, sitting there real nice and level. I mean, that vacuum for being cold is just sitting there, just great, just sitting there pretty idle. We got more volts at least, it's only showing 12, but good oil pressure and everything. I mean, it's, like I said, it runs good for a car that needs a new engine. So we'll back it out of here and see if it goes. Power steering still good. Sorry for my poor video skills, but I'm more concerned with not hitting things. Something didn't like it there, but there it goes. Well, it's out of the hole at least, so I can actually get at it and get some work done on it. But time to start pulling this engine and get the new one in. So there is a few oil leaks on this one, obviously. Not too bad, considering it was sitting all winter. That's all it came up with. I don't think that's too bad, at least. But yeah, it's time. It needs some work, so I'm gonna get this pulled out here. Show you the new engine here real quick. Here's the new one. I even painted it. That's how good I feel about this. Don't know if you can see that. That says Dart. These are It's basically a 350. It's bored 60 over. It's got the piston and compression set up at about almost 10 to 1 right now. It's like 9.98 or something like that. So should be able to run pump gas down the road. These are two 15cc dart heads that were ported. So I bought these used off Craigslist. Got a heck of a deal on them. We'll see if it works. Camshaft is a pretty mild, streetable camshaft. I think it's like a 480 lift on it, and it's got roller rockers on the top end, and so I mean it should be a pretty streetable engine. Should be good to drive around. I'm not sure, the heads might be a little bit too big, but for the deal I got on it should be all right. So I'm excited to try it out and just kind of see what happens with it. Okay, so I know I said this wasn't that bad of an oil leak, but I'm going to try to get you under here to check this out. This, let's see if you can see anything. You can kind of see it in there, but just, wow, everything is just soaked in oil. I mean, it's natural rust prevention here. It's so bad, but I'm pretty sure it all came from the front, right on the fuel pump actually. That's where I was tracking it to earlier, and I think it just blew back all the way back to here, and it just covered everything in oil. So that's a fun one. Trying to focus here on the spark plug, but look at all that oil. It's even gotten into sludge stage on the spark plug. Probably burning a lot of oil with this engine. I'm really surprised it ran as good as it did like that. I'll take the rest out and see what the rest of them look like too. Maybe it's just the wrong one that I took out, but wow, that's pretty bad. So, check these spark plugs out. Pretty oily. This is the good side. This would be the passenger side spark plugs here. And the driver's side, that's exactly how I took that one out of there, just full of sludge. That one's not bad when you look in comparison. That one looks like it has some carbon on it. That's impressive. But the rest are just, they're all covered in oil. Yeah, this engine was, it was due. It was burning up real good. So somehow it kept on going, just keep filling her up with oil, but it was just a matter of time before something more catastrophic would happen than oil consumption. So anyways, it's yeah, it's coming out real nice. Got the radiator out, and obviously the exhaust is off, and some things are disconnected, some aren't. I'm just kind of taking my time working my way around it, and still got trans hooked up and fuel lines, a couple things back here over by the distributor, a couple cables, so just getting there. Alright, so I had a bit of a late night. My phone died and I just kept going. I wasn't gonna go inside and recharge, but this is the new engine. It's in already. Got the transmission hooked up. Exhaust is mostly hooked up. Got a few issues that we found already. One being the intake manifold. I used the old one, put it on there, and set the engine in with the lifter, the carburetor lifter. That works to set it in, but the intake's not going to work. These head ports are way too big. Next issue, got contact between that power steering gearbox and the header, just barely. I'm going to try just spacing up this engine mount here, see if that works. And then my plug is pointing right into this header, so I might need to take this header off, heat it up, and push it out of the way. Now, I did just buy a new set of spark plugs. I had originally bought the exact same set that's on there, and I was just gonna reuse those, but seeing this issue, I ended up buying another set, and they're actually called header plugs, so they're short, so it should fit, hopefully. Yeah, this side's a lot better. You can see that plug there is pointing right at the header, but I'm wondering if I get a shorter one, if I can get away with not having to bang that header around. But this one would be the easy one. This one pops right out. This side, because of the power steering box, I have to like pick up this whole side of the engine. Just leave. I can leave the side engine mount on. Have to take this one off, jack up this side of the engine to get that header out. So that makes it kind of a pain, but it'll work. I'll show you what I mean with this intake. So this intake gasket, it's a little bit windy, maybe I should close the door. But anyways, this intake gasket, these intake ports here are bigger than what's on that intake there. And if you look at this intake port there, so what am I doing wrong here? This is lined up right in the middle of the bolt holes there. Okay, you see that gap right up there? The intake is actually, the intake porting on the head is bigger than the intake gasket, which is bigger than the intake. So I got a new intake also. That was exciting. I wasn't planning on that one, but this is the RPM air gap, so it's got the hole underneath the whole carburetor. So I think I could get away with getting rid of the carburetor spacer because it's got that extra gap underneath there, and that should, at least I hope, give me the hood clearance I need still to close the hood without cutting a hole in it. So gonna give that a shot. I'll put that intake on right now, and then I need to wait till tomorrow to get the car started, just to let the gaskets seal and set. So I'm gonna get the intake on today, get everything else, get my wires put on, get my header spaced up, and get all that stuff done. Then I'm gonna take the distributor back off actually, so I can prime the oil system right before I start the car. So gonna, yeah, just kind of work my way through it. Obviously get a cooling system put in, but try to get everything done except for adding water and priming the oil system, so that tomorrow I can start the car up and let her go, see what happens. Well, this is fun. I put the intake on and the bolt holes aren't lining up, so I go in and oblong the holes, I guess, more towards the inside. I think that the heads that are in the car must have been milled down, so I don't know what that means as far as the compression ratio. I'll figure it out if I guess, because they're 64 cc heads to start with, and if that's what if they were 64, then I would have a compression ratio around 9.96 to 1. If they're milled down, I'd have to redo the math, I guess. They probably only took off 1 or 2 cc's, so probably down to 62, maybe 61 combustion chamber size. So that might bring my compression ratio up to, I'd have to do the math, but maybe up to 10.5 to 1. So should still be safe on pump gas, as long as I'm using 91 at least. So we'll find out. Well, I got this header here clearanced a little bit. You can see a little bit. I just took a ball peen hammer to it. I had to take it underneath the car, but there's enough clearance there. I put the spark plug wire on, and I feel confident that there's enough clearance. I'm not worried about it there. So with that, I think we got enough clearance on all 4 of these plugs here. So I'm gonna, for the last time, bolt this side down and connect it to the exhaust. So call this header done, and then I'll move over to the hard one. Well, I'm getting pretty close here. I got most everything buttoned up. I can't get my power steering pump on because I have a monstrous balancer. I broke a clamp for the radiator. I'm missing a plug. It goes underneath the headers on the other head. So I need a few parts. You notice I have my header bolts, and this is off right now because I just took it off because I can't tighten the spark plugs with the header on. I can get them in by hand, but not get a socket and wrench on them. So header's coming off to tighten the spark plugs. but I'm 99% sure I can get the plug wires on because I got that 90-degree boot and they sit pretty low on the plug, so pretty sure that'll work. Yeah, so don't have the distributor in, but I'm gonna get the plugs all tightened down. I'm gonna leave the headers off until I get the plug wires on, just in case I need a little bit more room. I think I'm gonna hook up an electric fuel pump actually, just to do the cam braking. But otherwise, everything else seems hooked up. I mean, as far as getting it started and running it, I should probably hook up that clutch that's sitting down there, but yeah, so tomorrow morning I'll stop at the auto parts store, get my water plug and my hose clamp, and then fill up the water system, fill up the radiator, I guess. Yeah, prime the oil system, drive the distributor in, and should be about ready to go. The battery's sitting on the charger over there, so tomorrow I should have this thing running. Oh, I just put in my engine oil braking additive and comp cams. Installed that. Forgot if it came with or I put it in or bought it. But you should always run that when you're braking in a flat tap of cam. And then they say actually every oil change after that. So whether you run this or something else, it's fine. I run this for the braking. I'm going to run something else for the cheaper stuff, I guess, after that. But the ZDDP is what's basically the reasoning that you have to run these, because new oils don't have that, because all of the camshafts are rollers now, so you don't have that high friction area that you need the ZDDP for. So that's what this additive is for, and so that's why you put it in. Priming the oil system here, and you can see the oil is starting to come up through, but I looked at the gauge and there's 50 pounds of pressure, and the drill started smelling and smoking real bad. So that's what 50 pounds of oil pressure looks like on a drill. Not very good. Oil burning off all the headers and it's all over. I literally just started it, so I'm starting my cam braking process. Okay, so there's the braking. It passed, I guess. It runs now, it sits in idles, and I feel pretty confident. I don't have a new filter or oil for it, I guess, so that's my next step. I have to do that. Parts store's closed already because it's past noon on Saturday, but yeah, besides that, I mean, it runs. I found this old filter in the barn, in the shed. I don't have cell service out here, so otherwise I'd look this up and see if this is going to work. And I do have oil, but I don't have the additive for it, so yeah, either way I'm going to need the oil additive, and then I'll just get a new filter, or I'll check if this one works. But yeah, so new engine runs, and it's survived so far, so pretty good deal. I'm excited. I'm going to just try to get it going and start driving it around. Get that initial, get the piston rings broken and get a couple hundred miles on it. Then right now I still have the single valve springs on the top. I'll put the duals on once I think it's 500 miles, and then torque all the head bolts and the intake bolts, and then at that point I'll have to have the rocker arms off anyway, so might as well put my valve springs, second valve springs on that, and then I'll really see what she's got under the hood. So with that, I guess the next video will probably be me tuning this or driving it around. So